Hi, I'm Adam with the ReadyFam app, and one of the things we get asked quite a bit is how do I talk to my family about emergency preparedness, especially if it's not something they've been oriented toward, if it's not something they're used to, and it might even make them nervous because you're talking about emergencies. The first thing to remember is talking about emergencies, if we do it right, will hopefully lower the level of anxiety rather than raise it. Because we can go through, okay, if this happens, these are the things we're doing to minimize the risk to us of negative consequences of an emergency. So one of the best ways to do it is pick a time and a place that is extremely calm, extremely benign. Do it over ice cream. Do it when your family is in a relaxed manner. And you can talk about less about what each emergency is and just more about emergencies in general. I found that this helps with children, for example, who have anxiety. We're like, hey, we're putting together bags of things that in case something happened, we need to be able to get out of our home quickly. We have everything we need. So it's all right there. You can even make a game out of it. So once you've got 72-hour kits put together, for example, you can call the family together and say, hey, we're going to practice. Let's see if we can beat 6 minutes grabbing our bags, getting everything, and getting out to the car. So you can gamify some of it. But doing it in a very, very non-threatening, non-negative way, and just talking about the positives, as in we're preparing ourselves to be able to live well if anything happened that we had to leave our home for a couple of days. So that's one of the best ways to deal with talking to your family members about it. The fact is, not everybody looks at this the same way. If you've worked on emergency preparedness for yourself for any length of time, you've noticed, I'm sure, that some people take it very seriously. Some people are, quite frankly, paranoid to the point where I don't believe in being paranoid. I believe in being prepared. But how would I define the difference? Being prepared is taking proactive, simple steps that would keep you safe in a variety of situations. You cannot prepare for every potential disaster that could befall you. And when you start trying to, and I mean every specific disaster, and then you start watching for those disasters, and the more you focus on them, the more you read about them, the more you become concerned about them, to the point where it starts to dominate your thoughts. Now I'm starting to enter into paranoia if I'm doing that. But if I take steps for things, especially with preparedness items that can serve in multiple situations in a variety of ways, well, now I've just got a plan that I can now flex to adjust to whatever the situation is, whether it's a natural disaster or something man-made where I have to get out for a few days because there's a chemical spill or whatever. With just a little bit of modification, I can take my stuff and my family and get out and move to a safe place. And we have prepared as much as possible to be able to survive and be as comfortable as possible while I'm away from home. So talking to your family in a way that just talks about what you're doing, and you focus on the things you're doing to mitigate, as opposed to, oh my gosh, what happens if we have a hurricane? What happens if we have an earthquake? What happens if there's a fire? If you focus on the disasters themselves, it increases the anxiety. If you focus just on your preparations, it distracts a bit from specific types of disasters that can raise the anxiety. So those are some suggestions about how to talk to your family and gradually get them into understanding these are basic skills. These are just very simple plans, and you can compare them if you've got the right audience. You can compare them to a fire drill. Hey, we have a fire drill in case something happens. We have a fire extinguisher in case we have a fire in the kitchen. We have a 72-hour kit in case something happens and we need to get out in the car. That's it. So as you do that, you want to focus on what you're doing as opposed to why you're doing it, because that will keep the level of anxiety lower in people who just aren't used to talking about this stuff. So I hope that helps, and let me know if you have any questions.